Friends, 207 days of war. We are in the 7th month of the war, and I must confess that reporting the war scenario from day one is pretty painful. But much more painful and devastating is the war in reality, on ground, where the question of life, men and material are involved. Anyway, starting from north, the Krasny Liman as well as Yampil are still being held by the Russian forces. And surprisingly, as I said yesterday, Kupiansk remains an enigma, and eastern part of it is still under control of Russia, though it seems it is withdrawing, like it has withdrawn from Studenok and moving towards Krimuki and Alexandrovka. These are basically the forest areas in Seversky Donetsk region, which seems being vacated by the Russian forces. Coming to south, if we believe Yuri reports and its analysis, which is by and large correct, the Ukrainian counteroffensive in this region has closed for Ukraine, as defensive line is manned by Russian regular forces, army, UAVs and other arms and ammunitions, unlike Balakleya and Izium. Kherson front itself is strengthened and it is ready to meet the winter. Well, I wonder why winter should help Russian forces and not Ukrainian forces. What are these factors? They are winter clothing, heating equipment in especially bunkers and fortified deep places. The mobility reduced due increased visibility because of vanishing greeneries and frozen lakes, rivulets, etc. And of course, the adaptability of weapons in these extra time. It is not like India. It is much more worse, like what we face in North India, Northwest in Leh and Ladakh. But why not same factors for the Ukraine? Two Ukrainian offensive in this region failed as they seem to be half-hearted, rather a probing attack and Russians discovered. In fact, the Ukrainians are losing more arms and ammunitions in these kind of attacks, though they were very successful in north. The Ukrainian offensive in east, especially in Donetsk and Pesky regions, have failed, while Russians are continuing to gain the territory inch by destroying Ukrainian defense block by block, lane by lane and inch by inch. Long and long awaited time probably will enter into the winter season. ISW in its report, since it had nothing to say, says that Russian forces are conducting meaningless offensive operations around Donetsk city and Bakhmut instead of defeating the Ukrainian counteroffensive. What a sympathy towards the Russian forces by ISW. Russian military in the meantime continuing its shelling and bombing the Ukrainian forces all along the battle zone. WSJ reports Ukrainian military has complained about heavy losses due Iranian kamikaze drone Shahid and has requested US aid to counter them. How are Ukrainians countering them? Of course, whatever the latest weapons they have, they're using it. But in addition, they are using their extra troops to meet the Russian superiority in artillery as well as air bombing and missiles. Lastly, Biden, who had been out of press in recent times, advised Putin not to use tactical, nuclear or chemical weapons in wake of setbacks in Ukraine. Thank you, friends. That's all from my side. See you tomorrow.